Alright guys, here we go. Getting ready to walk into the game room, the 2023 version of my game room, a year to the date of my first ever YouTube upload, which was a game room tour, and I'll get into a little bit of that. And before any of you haters out there start freaking out and telling me that these aren't real arcade machines, it's not a real game room, I know what they are. They're 3/4 scale, most of them are arcade one-ups. But it doesn't mean that it's not a game room still, okay? These are still games. This is a game room. They're in a room, so therefore, it's a game room. But anyways, as I said, exactly 1 year to the date, was my first ever video that I put out was a walkthrough of my game room. So we'll just do a real quick walkthrough on all these things. So, first thing you'll notice is, compared to last year, there was a lot more artwork, a lot more lighting, a lot more signs up than there was before. I only added a couple cabinets this year. There wasn't a whole lot that I was that interested in, but I did spend a lot of time upgrading and modifying a lot of these things, and we'll get to that real quick. But yeah, first thing here, X-Men, one of my all-time favorites. The only thing I really did to this one, this was here last year, I did give it a Sabo's marquee upgrade, and holy crap, what, I mean, just look at it compared to The Simpsons, how white and washed out that Simpsons is, because I didn't touch it yet. But this one is, I mean, my god, that's amazing. This is one cabinet that'll never leave my game room. X-Men, one of my all-time favorites, as is The Simpsons. Again, one of my all-time favorites. Didn't do anything to this one. Blitz, same thing, same condition that it was last year. I think I just got Blitz at that time. Didn't do anything to this one. I mean, I upgraded the marquee, but that didn't happen this year. NBA Jam. The original NBA Jam, haven't done anything to it. That marquee looks atrocious, so eventually I'll probably do that, as well as add some coin doors on it. Or who knows, maybe I'll upgrade to a deluxe or a Shaq Jam. I don't know, we'll see. But now here, this back wall was not here last year, so these are some of the cabinets I just picked up. This one here in the corner is the projector cade, which I actually won for free on my good friend PD7's 1000th subscriber giveaway blowout. This one was a great find. Golden Axe, picked that one up on Facebook Marketplace. It was almost brand new. Dude just had built the thing and never really played it. I was able to get it for 300 bucks. Eventually I am going to do a marquee upgrade, even though that one's not too bad, and I would definitely love to give it a double light up coin door on it. The coin doors and the lights, I mean, that's something that I always like to do to all these things. But the only bad thing about this one is that it's not online play. That kind of stinks, because these beat 'em ups, these style of games are always ones that are 100 times better when you're playing online with other people. This is my newest addition to the game room, the Street Fighter 2 HS5 Deluxe. Really satisfied with this one so far. Put the lights on the coin door. Haven't really done anything with that other than that. I like the marquee. I mean, I don't think there's anything I'm even going to do to it, to be quite honest with you. My one lone pinball machine, the Star Wars, got the Star Wars topper on it. Can't remember if I had that last year. This was an interesting year for this table, as the PCB burned up. Got into a little squabble with Arcade 1-Up about replacing it. I wasn't too happy that I had to pay for it, because it was an issue that they knew about, and it was an issue due to poor design. Ended up still having to pay for it. Luckily, they allowed me to use a $25 gift card that I had, which I had to put up a fight about that as well. But either way, I got the machine back up and running, which is great because I love it. It's Star Wars for me. That's awesome. V-Pin it's extremely fun, and if you don't have the money or the room for a full-size pinball table, these things are worth it if you can find them on sale. For $7.50, what they ask for them, that's a little bit steep. Here we got a casualty. We got a man down. The Konami Multicade has been experiencing some issues. I am not getting picture out of my screen. It's a CRT monitor. I think the monitor's starting to go bad. The machine, it fires up. I get sound. No picture. So I'm definitely going to have to get some work done on this. If you want to know any more about this specific machine, I did do a video on it a while back explaining what this one was and its brother cabinet, the Midway Multicade. I did a little video on those, as well as the Street Fighter. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about that, made a funny little video about that one, kind of reviewed the thing. So check that out also. This one here a Gen 1 Pac-Man. And you're probably sitting yourself going, why in the world do you have a Gen 1 Pac-Man? But if you don't remember, or if you don't know, I found this cabinet. I paid $5 for this thing. $5. Found it on Craigslist. A dude had picked it up off the side of the street. It didn't have a power cable to it. So he had no idea that it worked, if it worked or not. So for $5, I grabbed it. I'm like, I don't even care. You know, the cabinet alone is worth it. So I bought an aftermarket power cable, plugged it in, it worked perfect. Now the cable, or the cabinet itself was beat to hell. The artwork was all tore up. The deck was all scratched, almost unrecognizable. So I did put a little bit of money on it. I put a light up marquee on it, which Gen 1s don't come with that. I repainted the deck, like hand painted this whole thing for the most part, all the damaged parts of it, and bought a clear deck protector for it. Repaired the artwork on the side. There was a lot of scratches and tears. Bought a riser for it and riser graphics. So I put a little bit of money into it. So that's the reason why I haven't upgraded yet, because I kind of have a little bit of sentimental value to this thing, just because of all the time and effort. The cabinet itself, like the structure of it, was broken apart. I reinforced the back of it with 2x4s and wood, and basically it's probably the most sturdy cabinet that I own now. So maybe one day I'll upgrade, but for now, I mean, it gives me Pac-Man, which is pretty much the only game I'm really interested in on it anyway, so that's good enough. This one here, T2, I had this one last year. I was in the process of upgrading it, and I don't remember at the time if I did or not, but I put a Sabo's marquee on it, which looks awesome. Also got decals, the Midway decals for the side, Midway decal for the front. Put a coin door on it with lights that has the Midway logo on it. Painted the guns black, hid the cables. I mean, I've done a lot to this. This is probably one of my favorite cabinets. I think it looks fantastic. One Arcade One Up's best cabinets. Unfortunately, it only comes with one game. So at some point, I probably will do the buy stuff update to it, the mod, to give me a whole bunch of more shooters on it. But this cabinet's not going anywhere. I mean, come on, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger all over it. I mean, it looks. You can see it up on the wall back there. This is probably one of their most accurate recreations of an arcade cabinet that they've done, and I really, really like it. And if I can get a whole bunch of other shooters on it, I'm definitely going for it. Next, here's another new one. Ghosts and Goblins. You may be saying to yourself, wait, what? Ghosts and Goblins? Where did they come up with that one? And really, all this is I just moved this thing out here. I bought a Gen 1 Final Fight, and bought all sorts of side art graphics, kick plate graphics, riser graphics, control deck, you name it, marquee. Upgraded the entire thing, bezel graphic, reskinned the entire cabinet. But yeah, it was only a Gen 1 Final Fight for $150, and you could see that Retro 530 marquee, that light box that I bought off of them. I mean, it just looks amazing. And right now, all that's in it is still the stock PCB from Final Fight, but eventually this thing is going to be modded. Gonna get a new computer in it, put a Raspberry, something in it to make this a big multicade, and hopefully this thing will last a long time. Yeah, put a Retro 530 coin door on it. Made a video showing this on my channel as well. If you want to know more about it and what all I did to it and where I got all the parts and pieces from, check that out. But I'm really, really happy with this one. And to be able to put Ghosts and Goblins on a track mode like that, that's really cool. I believe it's one of a kind. I mean, I could be mistaken in that, but I don't know anybody else that has one. So that's pretty cool. Outrun, had that last year. I did do the Buy Stuff Racing mod to this one, and I'm glad that I did. And I think I mentioned last year that the sit-down cabinets are really small for a full-size adult, and I'm not even really that tall. But I have a 4-year-old who loves this thing, and the Buy Stuff mod makes it, it went from 5 games to 170 games or whatever. So, I mean, he gets on this thing, and he just goes to town. And that's the reason why in the last year I have not upgraded this thing and built a riser and converted it into a stand-up. I just did it for him because he sits down in that little chair, scoots right up to it, and he just goes nuts. And so maybe when he gets older and bigger or loses interest in it, then I'll convert it into a stand-up so I can actually play it, because I really just don't enjoy sitting down and playing that thing. And if you guys have any of the sit-down cabinets that they've made, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But as you see, yeah, Crazy Taxi is playing in it right now. So, I mean, you get all the great games with that Buy Stuff mod. Crazy Taxi, Daytona, Cruising USA. There's even like Mario Kart and stuff on there. It's totally worth the money. But this one here, the Midway, this is the brother cabinet to that Konami that is out of order right now. Made by the same company, Buy Stuff, or Big Games, I'm sorry. And has a CRT, as you can see, the flickering. It doesn't look like that in person, but like I said, made a video on that. If you're interested in these things, check them out, because you can probably find them for cheap. This thing here, the only reason I'm keeping it, because most of the games on this are on the Mortal Kombat, is because I can play Robotron and Sinistar on there. Now, if Arcade 1-Up comes out with Robotron and Smash TV, this thing's probably going to be on the chopping block. This thing will probably get sold, because I can play another more accurate way of playing Robotron, and this is going to be the spot for it whenever that time comes. And I do firmly believe that that cabinet is going to be seen by Arcade 1-Up in 2024, and it will be bought. This will be sold, and hopefully a Smash TV skin cabinet will be sitting right there at this point next year. Next one is a new a cabinet for this year. I upgraded from the original Midway Legacy to the Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe. Glad that I did. It's a fantastic looking cabinet. Looks pretty close, pretty accurate to the original, which for me, that's what I'm into. I like the arcade recreations. Some of you say, you know, you haters will be like, well, why don't you just buy them all on a multicade? Why are you wasting your money? I'm not interested in a multicade. I want to recreate an arcade full of all the games that I used to love to play as a kid. Mortal Kombat 2 was one of them. And this cabinet looks true to the original for the most part, and that's why I upgraded it. This is the third variant of Mortal Kombat that I've had. And so moving on, we get to the OGs. Star Wars is the second cabinet I ever bought. Originally was a sit-down. It is now a stand-up. I saved the bench, and if you want it for $1,000, I'll sell it to you. I hear they're hard to come by. I can definitely be bought. You can see these three cabinets. I put lights on the back. I don't think I had those on last year. I could be wrong. It did the same thing with Ghosts and Goblins, have purple LED lights on the back. Terminator has red. I don't have them on all of them, but I think that's kind of cool, especially with the white wall. It kind of illuminates behind them pretty well. But yeah, this is a sit-down Star Wars. I thought of putting the Buy Stuff mod in this, but this is probably my favorite cabinet out of them all, as I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, I love that artwork on the side. You got Vader, the TIE X1 Advance, you got the Death Star. I mean, that's just fantastic artwork. It's a very unique cabinet with unique controls. I guess I did do a little bit of an upgrade. I did do the molded bezel pieces on there, which I think they look really cool, because that's how the original was. I also did put a light up coin door on it, because I don't think I did that. I don't think I had that last year. It pained me to cut into this thing and attach a coin door to the front of it, but I figured why not. And we move on. Save the best for last, TMNT. The reason I saved this one for last, I mean, nothing has changed on it other than I did put the double light up coin door on it, but I saved this one for last because this is the first cabinet that I ever bought back in 2019. So, I mean, if it wasn't literally for me deciding to buy this cabinet, this put everything in motion. I mean, this is why I'm doing YouTube. This is why I'm making content and getting into all this and doing live streams, because I bought this thing. Had I not bought this, I would not have got that addiction. I would have not have got that itch to create an arcade, which would have, you know, put everything into motion to get where I'm at right now. So this cabinet right here, and if you don't know the backstory, I'll touch on it real quick. Back in 2019, at the time, I think this thing was available for pre-order. I don't even think it was out yet. And we lived in our old house, and I think we just got done playing a run, me and my friend and my brother, of TMNT 2, the arcade game on the NES. And this was one of our favorite games as a kid. We used to go to the arcade, get 3-4 of us around this thing, and I'm like, man, how cool would it be to have an original cabinet of Ninja Turtles? So I started looking at them up online, seeing if I could buy like a full-size cabinet, you know. And then you're looking at, you know, $2,000, $2,500, $3,000, and they weigh 500 pounds. I'm like, oh my god, the money and the space, like how big this thing is, like what am I gonna do with it? Do I really want to mess with it? Now you're scrolling, and all of a sudden I find this little 3/4 scale. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? You know, this company called Arcade 1-Up. They make it a 3/4 scale Ninja Turtles. So my first thought was, there's no way this is real. I'm not paying $400 on something that's not ever going to show up. Well, started doing a lot more research on it, find out that these products existed. I mean, at that point, the Gen 1 was already a thing and was out for a while, and so I'm like, you know what, this probably makes a lot more sense. Like, buy this thing, and it's lighter, it's got a better screen, and I know the haters out there will say, oh, it looks better on a CRT. Well, I'm telling you right now, it does not. Maybe it's more realistic, more accurate. You're more of a purist. I can see you would like it, but it does not look better. There's no way you're going to convince me that a CRT looks better than HD. It doesn't. But yeah, so I bought this thing, and I attribute this cabinet is to the reason why I'm where I'm at right now, and why a year later I'm doing a second arcade game room tour out there. So this thing started my love for to build a home arcade. And I started seeing that there were guys out there that streamed about these things, you know, the console kits. I started watching his stuff, like 19K Fox and Michael B and P-Dubs and B Kong, and I'm like, wow, there's like a following to these things. So I decided, you know what, if I'm kind of interested in this, I started, you know, I ended up buying Star Wars, and then I bought Mortal Kombat, and then I'm like, all right, well, I started watching these live streams every single week, and I wanted to kind of get into it a little bit, so I ended up changing my name, you know, to the bad guy, and you're probably wondering, why did you do that? Like, what is that? That's childish, that's stupid. Like, I mean, it is kind of, but it's a paying tribute to one of my favorite wrestlers, maybe my favorite wrestler of all time, the late great Scott Hall, you know, aka Razor Ramon. That's why I did it. He went by the bad guy. He was like the coolest guy out there. I'm like, you know what? I think he had just died right before that happened, before I changed my name over, because I was just going by my real name. So, and then at that time, I'm like, you know what? I changed my name, so maybe I'll just show my game room off, and I'll try to give these guys something to associate me with. So I just did a little game room walkthrough, changed my name, and I started meeting people, you know, getting closer to them. You know, I'm like, well, talking to a guy who goes by the name of PD7, who turns out ended up being one of my best friends. And, you know, he has X-Men, he has Simpsons, he had Blitz and NBA Jam. So we started setting up like, well, hey, man, let's play together. And so then it grew from there. And I started becoming friends with these people. And then a guy who goes by the name of Outrun the Neon Sun approached me, you know, just started talking. Same thing. We're just BSing about our games and how fun these are and how we're fortunate to be able to do this. And he's like, isn't it crazy that, you know, two guys in their 40s or almost in their 40s are talking about these arcades? Like, we really have some sort of an addiction. And I made a comment to him back. I'm like, yeah, man, it's funny. You know, I guess I'll see you at the next Arcades Anonymous meeting. And he hits me back up and he's like, dude, I love that name. That's a fantastic idea. I'm stealing that name and I'm creating a weekly live stream show and you're going to be on it. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I just posted a game room walkthrough, unedited at all, no editing, no anything, because I didn't know how to do any of it, none of it. Like, I knew nothing about uploading videos to YouTube. I had never done it before. I knew nothing about live streaming, never did it before. Dan encouraged me, he pushed me, he's like, no, do it. All you need is a webcam and a headset. So I'm like, all right, fine. He got it all together. I got on his stream, you know, probably had that deer in the headlights look, because I was never one to get up in front of people and talk. I hated giving speeches, I hated giving reports, I hated talking in front of large groups. But, you know, with Dan, was so easy to talk to, and he just took me under his wing, and it really made it easy for me. And, you know, I thought it was going to be a one-time thing. I'm like, all right, that was cool. I was on a live stream. That's awesome, you know, and people that I watched on their live streams were showing up in the chats. And I was like, this is great. You know, it was me, him, and another great friend of mine, Jester Tester. We were the first three on the show, and, you know, I thought he was going to bring in new guys every week, or it was going to be his show. And No, it turns out he had every intentions on keeping me on that show every single week, and it just went from there. You know, I got to know Jester Tester very well, and I'm privileged to get to know him, and I work with him right now on another show. And again, you know, we brought in, he was looking for recommendations on like who he wanted to bring in, and you know, I was like, I talked to this guy PD7 a lot, like we play games a lot. You know, we should get him involved. And next thing, bam, next week it was me, him, me, Dan, PD7, and Jester Tester, and it went from there. And in each week, you know, I got to meet all these great people like Nerd Lounge Master 84, Multicade Matt, you know, G.I. Joel, Chaotic BPR, Biggie D's Arcade, Garage Gamer, Toxin. I mean, all these guys, you know, and then all the people in the chats like MG and Stock Jock and the Real Zim, and there are just so many good people out there that I've gotten the privilege to meet as this Arcades Anonymous thing started taking off. And then it all led to us getting together, which was probably the highlight of my entire year, was getting to go to Cleveland, the Cleveland Gaming Classic, and getting to meet all these guys in person, which was an experience I will never forget. You know, all the guys that I've been streaming with and talking to on a weekly basis, sometimes daily, I got to meet them all in person, and then get to meet guys like the Tech Buzz, who I've watched a lot all the time, and Console Kits and Fox and all those guys. Getting to meet them in person was a fantastic experience, and play games with them and go out and drink at the bars with them. I mean, it was unreal. It was unreal. I couldn't believe that I was actually doing it. And you know, to share a house with Multicade Matt and Nerd Lounge and PD7, you know, it was fantastic. And to get to hang out with Stock Jock and Toxin, and just to ride around and play arcades and go to these conventions and play pinball. I mean, it was an experience. I hope to everything out there that we can do this again and make this a yearly thing, because I had that much fun doing it that I can't imagine not being able to see these guys in person ever again. So on the way back from Cleveland, PD7 and I started coming up with an idea for another live stream show. Phil had approached me with the idea of doing a nostalgia themed show. So, you know, long story short, we started throwing ideas around. Now we do a weekly live stream on Saturday mornings called Nostalgia Power. Now, we kind of stepped away from Arcades Anonymous because it's hard. If you do live streams, you know how difficult it is to get content and put together a watchable show once a week, much less twice a week. So luckily, you know, Arcades Anonymous has been left in fantastic hands with Nerd Lounge Master, G.I. Joel, Multicade Matt, Chaotic BPR, and Gamer Fridge. I mean, those guys do a fantastic job every Wednesday night. But me, PD7, again, Jester Tester, like I said, just fantastic opportunity to get to work with him, how knowledgeable and nice he is. And a guy who goes by Zod Writer, who's a great dude who I've gotten really close to and got to know very well over the last couple months. We stream every Saturday morning. And so, as I said, that was kind of like my year in review. Like, I can't believe that last year on this day I posted just a video, like I said, not knowing what I was doing. Just made a little walkthrough of my game room, just to give these people that I talk to on a weekly basis just something to be able to relate to me and associate me with. I never ever thought that buying this Ninja Turtles cabinet and posting that Game Room tour, that a year later I would be over 500 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, I just monetized my channel. I can't believe that. That's insane to think about. I got to meet all these fantastic people, do all this cool stuff. All because of that. Like, I never ever envisioned that at all when I made this video a year ago today. Never. And to everybody I just mentioned by name, I just want to give you my appreciation, like how important you guys have been to me, and how inspirational, and just how much of a big part of my life you guys have been over the last year. And I've had some unbelievable, unforgettable experiences with you guys, and I hope there's a lot more. And I also don't want to leave out my brother MJ87, who comes over and records a lot of videos with me, gameplay videos. Also is a moderator on our Nostalgia Power. So if you're showing up in the chats thinking you're going to troll, just be ready to get booted, because he watches that thing like a hawk. And also my good friend Hot Rangus. How can I not mention him? Again, if it wasn't for this guy, like, I probably wouldn't even be doing any of this stuff, because I am not, as bad as I am in front of a camera, or how bad I hated it before, I was even worse on the technical end of things. I didn't have the equipment, I didn't have the know-how to even make anything work. He came over, did so much stuff. I mean, he donated a computer to me, microphones, all sorts of stuff. Showed me how to record footage and how to live stream and all this stuff. And when something goes wrong, he spends hours trying to fix it when I'm just sitting on the couch drinking. You know, he's over there trying to figure out how to make everything work. So I really got to give Hot Rangus all the credit in the world, because if it wasn't not for him, I probably wouldn't even be, I shouldn't say probably, I know for a fact I would not be as far as I am right now. So I hope that I mentioned all the people that I hope nobody feels slighted, and if I forgot to mention your name, I'm sorry, but there's just too many to list, and it's just an experience this past year that if you would have told me a year ago when I posted my first video that a year later I would be doing a video like this and thanking people and telling me I had the next year I would be spent making YouTube videos and getting on live streams and hosting streams and being a part of all this, I would have thought you were out of your mind. So hopefully next year on December 30th, 2024, I will be posting another video like this, thanking even more people and showing even more games and talking about even more great experiences that I had. And I'm greatly looking forward to 2024 and what all it's going to bring, because if it's anything like 2023, I can't wait. And those of you who are a part of it, again, you guys are amazing, and I can't thank you enough, and I can't tell you how much you guys meant to me over this last year. And if it wasn't for you guys, literally I would not be doing this, because you make it enjoyable. That is what the big thing is for me. As long as this is enjoyable, I'm going to keep going with it, because I really like doing it. And as long as people are getting entertainment out of the things that I do, I'm going to keep doing it. And when that day happens, and I'm sure it happens to everybody, move on to something else. But for right now, thank you everybody. Tune in every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, Nostalgia Power. Eventually, be getting to a giveaway here. I'm going to do a little appreciation giveaway to the subscribers that I have that got me over 500, that got my channel monetized. Nothing major, but I do want to just show some appreciation, because you guys, honestly, you mean the world to me. You really do. I know it sounds cliche and corny, and everybody says it, and I always thought the same exact thing when I heard people say, oh yeah, like they really care. No, you really do care, because these people actually put time and effort into watching your content or helping you do things, and the people that I'm associated with are some of the best people out there, because they are more than willing to help you do anything at any time. And I'm very, very, very fortunate for that. So again, everybody, thank you. And if you've been a part of any of this in this year, 2023, it's been unreal. And next year, like I said, I hope I'm doing a video very similar to this and thanking a lot more people, because if next year is anything like this year, it will be a fantastic, fun year. So thank you guys, and I'll see you Saturday mornings.